It all started on a breezy Tuesday morning in late spring, the kind of day where the sunlight makes the whole neighborhood look like a glossy postcard. I was sipping my coffee on the porch, enjoying the rare peace in my suburban corner of Ridgeview Estates. That was when I noticed her, Karen. Not just any neighbor, but the self-appointed queen of the HOA, a woman whose existence revolved around rule books and complaints. She stood across the street with her ever-present clipboard, eyes darting between houses like she was patrolling the perimeter of a prison. Her gaze landed on me, lingered for a beat too long, and I felt the first ominous twinge in my gut. Something told me I'd be hearing from her soon. I'd lived in Ridgeview for 3 years without any major problems. Sure, I had gotten the occasional friendly reminder from the HOA about keeping my trash bins out of sight or trimming my hedges, but nothing serious. My record was clean. That was until Karen moved in 2 doors down. From the day her moving truck pulled up, I knew she was trouble. Within a week, she was knocking on doors introducing herself, not with cookies or a handshake, but with laminated copies of the HOA handbook. "Just so you know the standards," she'd chirp with a smile so tight it looked painful. The first letter arrived 3 days later. I thought it was junk mail at first, until I saw the bold HOA logo in the corner. Violation notice. My crime? Apparently, the shade of my mailbox wasn't uniform with community standards. I stared at it in disbelief. It was black, the same as my neighbor's. But the letter threatened a $150 fine if I didn't correct the infraction within 10 days. I sighed, figuring it was a misunderstanding, and decided to repaint the already perfectly fine mailbox just to avoid drama. But Karen wasn't satisfied. The next week, I got another letter, this time for unsightly lawn ornaments. The ornament in question? A small solar-powered garden light I'd had for 2 years without issue. Again, a $150 fine. I was annoyed, but I complied, removing the light. Still, the letters kept coming. Overgrown grass, improper trash bin placement, unauthorized holiday decorations for a string of lights I'd put up inside my window. It didn't take long to figure out what was happening. Karen was reporting me, every single time. One evening, I caught her in the act. She was crouched by my driveway, snapping photos of my recycling bins like a crime scene investigator. I stepped outside and said, "Can I help you?" She jumped, clearly startled, then straightened her posture and smirked. "Just documenting violations for the HOA," she said, her tone dripping with smugness. "We all have to do our part to keep Ridgeview beautiful." That was the moment I decided this wasn't just about rules anymore. This was war. Over the next month, the fines piled up. I owed nearly $900 for absurd violations, and I could feel my blood pressure rising with each letter. I tried appealing to the HOA board, but they were reviewing the matter, which I quickly learned was code for "We'll side with Karen." She had wormed her way into their good graces, attending every meeting, volunteering for committees, and painting herself as the neighborhood's moral compass. I wasn't about to let her win. One night, I sat in my office, scrolling through the HOA's bylaws online. If Karen wanted to play by the book, I'd play by the entire library. I spent hours reading every clause, every outdated rule, every overlooked loophole. And then, like a light flicking on in the darkness, I saw it, buried in Section 14, Paragraph D, a clause stating that any homeowner could request a special HOA inspection of another property if there was reasonable suspicion of ongoing violations. Oh, Karen. The next morning, I filed a formal complaint with the HOA against her. Not one, but 12 separate complaints, all backed up with photos. I had spent weeks casually strolling past her property, pretending to walk my dog, snapping pictures of every technical violation she had. Her hedges extended exactly 3 inches past the community limit. Her mailbox flag was chipped. Her backyard shed, visible from the street, wasn't painted in an approved color. She had a bird bath in her front yard that technically counted as an unapproved lawn fixture. The HOA scheduled the inspection for the following Tuesday. When the day came, I just happened to be outside, trimming my hedges, as the inspector pulled up in his official vehicle. Karen saw him and instantly morphed into the embodiment of confusion and outrage. She stormed out, demanding to know why her home was being inspected. The inspector calmly explained that a concerned resident had reported possible violations. I watched as he measured her hedges, examined her shed, and took meticulous notes. 2 weeks later, Karen received her first violation letter, then another, then another. By the end of the month, she owed over $1,200 in fines. She tried appealing, of course, but I knew the rules well enough by then to make sure my evidence was airtight. Her appeals were denied. Her pristine reputation with the HOA board began to crack. Whispers started around the neighborhood. Karen wasn't as perfect as she claimed. People she had once bullied into compliance began to push back. The real cherry on top came when she missed a payment deadline for one of her fines. According to the bylaws, unpaid fines could result in temporary suspension of community privileges. That meant she couldn't use the community pool, tennis courts, or clubhouse. And Karen loved the pool. The day the ban went into effect, I saw her standing at the entrance arguing with the lifeguard like a toddler denied candy. She saw me walking by and her glare could have melted steel. I just gave her a little wave. But I didn't stop there. Using my newfound knowledge of the bylaws, I started proposing new community improvement measures at HOA meetings. Things like stricter mailbox inspections, quarterly lawn audits, and noise level monitoring. Each one passed, thanks to the same bureaucratic process Karen had once used against me. And wouldn't you know it, every single new rule just happened to target something Karen loved. Her weekly backyard karaoke nights, shut down due to noise restrictions. Her precious bird bath, removed for encouraging wildlife intrusion. By the end of summer, Karen had all but disappeared from public view. No more patrols with her clipboard, no more photos of my bins. Her house looked neglected. Her perfect hedges grew uneven. The sparkle in her eyes dimmed whenever I saw her. And me? I enjoyed the quiet. My mailbox stayed whatever color I wanted. My garden lights twinkled every night without a single complaint. The HOA even stopped sending me letters entirely. Sometimes revenge doesn't come in one grand explosion. It comes in slow, calculated moves. Moves so precise that by the time your enemy realizes they're losing, the game is already over. And as I sat on my porch one golden evening, coffee in hand, watching Karen's blinds snap shut when she saw me, I couldn't help but smile. Because Ridgeview Estates was finally beautiful again.